Here we go.
Where does yesterday's future meet today's? Right here,
Dance with me, ladies.
right now.
It's new,
Here's
Tricia.
Bunny
You
D.
like it? Look at Joe go. Look at Jennifer. Woo.
Where does yesterday's future land? When it finally shakes your hand, right at the edge of a brand new screen. Blink once and you know what I mean. The old world folds into a spark. One little switch in the dark.
Turn that switch on.
Tomorrow's knocking, just minutes away.
Here we go.
Can you hear it rocking? Can you hear it say? Technology evolution, future of now, future of now, the future
He's almost done.
now.
There we-
Here's Bunny D.
I've been properly introduced. That's the new opening. Tricia, do you like it?
I love it, Bonnie.
Thank you. Jennifer, what do you think?
It's definitely toe tapping.
Joe's brand new. Joe, did you like it?
I was moving, grooving, and doing all the things. So yeah, it was perfect.
There you go. Well, I want to welcome my three guests. We're continuing I'll call it a sub-series on the future of authors and AI. We're going to talk about, as always, opportunities and benefits, but we're going to touch on the challenges too, because we all know, reality check, there are issues, there are challenges, and we're trying to basically navigate the minefield of what is the good stuff we want to do as authors. I'm an author as well. So, ladies, I'm going to open with my introduction, and I would like you all to just wave when I call your name. Okay, here we go. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where AI meets innovation. We'll explore the how. Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic is leading the way, the future of authors and AI opportunity and challenges in our spotlight today. Tricia Copeland, wave hello. Joe Michaels, newbie, and JM Jennifer Shaw with their books galore. Explore where AI might help with plots, characters, research, and more. From book trailers to social media, inviting readers to engage, collaborating with, but not replacing, the human authors who are writing each page. Now I have a special introduction for each of you, and Tricia, you're first. I hope you enjoy this. Tricia grew up in South Georgia, where camping sparked adventure's call. Through sandy trails, mosquitoes, snakes, yes, alligators and all. A teacher's daughter, she loved biology with genetics leading the way, earning a master's in microbiology that got her career underway. By day, Tricia mastered patents. By night, her magical kingdoms grew, proving science and imagination can happily coexist for her, too. Now, witches, kingdoms, monarchs, and romance fill her every written page, where courage, mystery, and wonder captivate readers of every age. Now, Colorado's mountain trails inspire magical worlds anew, where Tricia's human storytelling shapes each character's point of view. Welcome, Tricia. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
You're welcome. Joe, you're next. Joe was born in Tennessee, then Louisiana became her home. The youngest of 8, where books inspired her imagination to roam. By 15, Joe was already in college, charting her own design. Graduating, what, summa cum laude? Her creativity was so ready to shine. From photography to painting, baking, sculpture, and art galore, her imagination refused to stay behind just one creative door. She founded Indie Books Gone Wild, helping fellow authors too, while writing fearless women characters whose courageousness shines through. As science fiction, thrillers, comedy, and paranormal all engage, Joe proves the best storytellers are never meant to fit on just one page. Joe, I hope you like that.
That was lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Jennifer is back. Jennifer grew up in Alberta, the eldest of 5, the family's only girl, filling her mother's typewriter with imagination worlds where her imagination would unfurl. Through education and health fair, she shaped her practical point of view. Then the call of storytelling, Jennifer, remained the path she always knew. Her fantasy adventures weave identity, resilience, redemption into each page, creating unforgettable worlds where courage rises to center stage. Nature, psychology, music, and exercise inspire each tale she'll write, blending emotional depth with magic in her every fantasy flight. As technology transforms how stories find readers every day, Jennifer reminds us that human imagination still leads the way. Jennifer, I hope you enjoyed that.
I did very much. That was beautiful.
I'm very glad. Now, here we go. As these vision rich panelists, for them, the future burns bright as they decide how AI may support writers with collaborative insight. From twisty plot lines to unique characters writ large, we'll explore where AI might aid their process, but the human authors will stay in charge. I hope you all enjoyed that. Yeah, good. We all good? Okay, let's go around the table, find out a little bit more. If you happen to have a latest book with you, that's fine if you want to hold it up, but we want to know what you've been up to. Tricia, I'm starting with you, and I haven't seen you in a little while, so I'd like you to catch us up, connect the dots for us, and then we'll go around the table to Joe and then Jennifer, and then we'll go into our special quotes you all sent me. So, Tricia, welcome back and talk to us.
Thank you. Great to be here again, Bonnie, and see you. I have been up to romance lately. My other pen name, Maria Jane, just published a new release, Perfect Secrets, which is set in Denver, Colorado. It follows the Perfect Romance series. So that's been a lot of fun seeing all the reaction to that latest book. Actually, Jo Michaels is my editor, so we have a lot of connections here. She's amazing. I've been with Indie Books Gone Wild my whole writing career. So love them. So sending out love to them. And they do all of my different genres. So it's a lot of fun having that collaboration. But yeah, on to the next, writing the next romance. So hoping to get that out next year.
Do you have some characters you want to introduce us to just briefly? Any names? Who's the romance between who and whom and what? Tell us, just to give a sneak preview. Trish?
Right. We have two main protagonists, and we get both their points of view, Elle and Tanner. And Elle is they're both coming off some hard times and looking for a fresh start. They meet at work, which gives them a few complications. And then let's see the different tropes. We have kind of like a friends to lovers. We have a little bit of forced proximity there. And then, as the name suggests, perfect secrets, lots of secrets come out in the book. And then they have to deal with all of that aftermath.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. You see this as a series, these characters?
It is a series. So
It is.
each book focuses on two characters or
Okay.
two characters romance. And so each book is a story in and of itself, but it's in this friend group, and all these friends met in college and now they're out in the world in different places. So
Yes.
you see a little snippet of each character in all the books.
That's what I wanted to know. So there's a continuity of your characters. I would imagine that's very engaging for readers today. And I don't read a lot, forgive me, but I watch a lot of TV dramas, mostly French language, detective thrillers. I do some Austrian, some Swedish languages that you can't be multitasking because you got to watch the subtitles. But I will tell you, I appreciate the character stories, Tricia, that unwrap the relationships. And I like a series where I can see the evolution of a character or a couple over a period of time. And these are all people who work together. So we all know what that's like, don't we? Some of us do more than others. Okay, thank you. I'm rambling. Jo Michaels. And I want to thank Tricia for introducing me to Jo. And you're here because you're a writer too, as well as a publisher. So, Jo, I'm putting you on speaker view. And why don't you give us a little more robust introduction of who you are and how you got started? Welcome.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Shoo, and introducing me, that's like asking someone, what have you done in the last 5 years? And they're a NASA astronaut. It's a lot, right? It's just, I have so many interests, but I'm just coming back into my writing era. I use 6 months of the year for art and then 6 months of the year for writing, because how else am I supposed to split my time? So just coming back into that, but it's mango season here in Southwest Florida. So I'm also a farm girl at heart, and my family owns a rather large fruit stand up there near Lenore City. Tennessee. It's pretty famous. So yeah, my family they're the owners and purveyors of that. And I do everything with what I have. I don't let anything go to waste. So it's been fun knocking on doors and begging for mangoes this last week.
I want to know about your books. You sent me one. Tell us about your latest book.
Oh, my the one that I'm about to start working on is actually a continuation of one of my thrillers. My thrillers are a series, but they're standalones. So you see crossover characters in each one. In the book 2, you'll see a character from book 1. In book 3, you'll see a character from book 1, that kind of thing. So they all get to know each other. But the one that I'm working on now is a follow-up to my short story that's free on Amazon called Innocent. So you'll get to know a little bit more about Miss Casey LeBrog in this upcoming book.
Cool. And tell me, how did you get into publishing? What's the backstory there?
Not publishing, just editing.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't publish. We were going to, but I can't do that because whoo, that's a lot of work.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I don't have, obviously. No, we just edit and I format. And we got into that indie books became a thing. And I was like, I'm really good at this. So let me jump in. And Tia jumped in with me and we made Indie Books Gone Wild. And we've been doing it ever since.
I love the name, Gone Wild. Did you have any trepidations about using the word wild in the name of your company? Or did you say, yes, people will pay attention? What do you think?
Well, Girls Gone Wild, Indie Books Gone Wild, it kind of,
Yep.
It vibes. I love the indie world. I think there's new ideas, new things. We don't try to hold people into a box. We let them be themselves with their own voices.
I like that. I like that idea. Thank you very much. It's a delight to meet you, and I'm waiting for my jar of mango something. And I am near Lenore City, but we won't give any more details than that. So you'll tell me where to go to your family's farm stand. I would love to visit. Any day now. Thank you. Jennifer J.M. Shaw is back. Jennifer, it's always wonderful to see you. You always have so much to say, and we're going to ask you to say something right now. So fill us in. You were on my creativity show recently, the Creativity Spark, but this is a different audience, Technology Revolution, the Future of Now. So why don't you reintroduce yourself in your own words to this global audience? Go ahead, Jennifer. Welcome back.
Yeah, so from your introduction, yeah, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I grew up as being a second mom to my brothers, and writing became my kind of escape from reality. I've been writing for over 30 something years, and I didn't share anything. It was just sort of my way to understand life, to process my emotions, and to understand, how to act and how to behave and how other people were thinking and that kind of stuff. In 2019, I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and then it started to make sense why I had slipped into writing as a coping mechanism. And it gave me the courage to share the first book in my series, which I had just finished writing at the time. I sent it to an editor thinking, okay, the worst they can say is it sucks. And they came back and said, this doesn't suck. You should publish, which was amazing. So 2 years later, I did. Now I have 4 books in my series. It's the Callum Walker series. I'm working on my 5th book, although I've had to take a little bit of a hiatus because my kids are home from school. So it's a little harder to write with them asking for a million snacks. I don't know how they survive the school year without them. But I've also created my own press company, and starting at the beginning of this year, I became a co-host on a podcast, and I will be starting my own podcast the end of this year.
That's very exciting. Can you tell us what you're going to call the podcast?
I'm playing with the title of Between the Lines, as in reading between the lines, and discussing everything that happens from the first pen to paper inspiration to that point where you became published, all the stuff before that, the journey, the things you learned, the mistakes you made, and what drove you towards publishing.
Interesting. And you said you started your own press company. Does it have a title?
It does. And it's just, I publish my books under it. It's Maverick First Press Inc. It's not, I don't even have a website for it. Maverick, because Maverick is going against the grain.
Yep. And Indy is going against the grain too, I think. I think we're seeing a theme here of courage and independence and resilience and speaking out between the lines. A lot of good stuff here. Thank you very much all for your extra introductions. And we're going to go now to the quotes. I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or a song lyric. I will read the quote with a little bit of background, and then I would like you to relate it to our topic, the future of authors and AI. And we can broaden AI to technology if you like. We can make that a broader conversation. So Tricia has sent a quote from Bella Swan, played by Kristen Stewart. The movie, of course, is Twilight. No surprise, 2008 vampire romantic fantasy film. There we got our romance in there. Let's see, it's directed by Catherine Hardwicke from a screenplay by Melissa Rosenberg, based on a novel from 2005 by Stephanie Meyer. A lot of women involved there. The first installment in the Twilight Saga film series. Isabella Bella Marie Cullen is the protagonist character, initially an ordinary teenage girl. Oh my! But during the series, she falls in love, oh my, again, and marries a vampire, Edward, with whom she has a human vampire hybrid daughter, Renesmee Cullen. We'll leave it there. Here's the quote Tricia has, and I'll be interested to see how you relate to our topic. I've never thought about dying, but dying in the place of someone I love seems like a good way to go. I don't think I did justice to the reading, but I tried. Tricia, putting you back on speaker view, tell us what in the world is going on with this quote? Talk to me.
Well, if you're in peril and you know you're going to die, at least it could mean something, right? And you would hope that would be a good way to go, I believe. And I don't think, I think the author is saying, having the main protagonist character who's talking to you, looking back on her life or what has happened, not her life, but what has happened, and seeing that, okay, I can accept this. It's kind of interesting because I had this dream as a kid, and this kind of does relate to AI, because I had this dream where there was this river and it flowed two different directions, and everybody would get a letter telling them the day that they died. And of course, people would go to the river, and some people would drown and some people wouldn't. And it was this whole thing. But this is still a dream, right? And so me and my dad get a letter, and my mom's like, no, we're going to the river because we're going to prove them wrong. And we don't die. I wake up and I'm not dead. But I've always had this thing about, can someone predict things, and could technology predict those things, and what would happen if it could? So I have to write a book about that one someday.
Oh, you have some dreams. I want to know what you eat before you go to bed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to ask if it wakes you up, and never mind what you have to do. Dreaming about water usually tells me it's time to, never mind, Bonnie. This is not going well. Okay.
I was only 8 when I had this dream, so I don't know where my mind was.
I feel much better now. And you remember, hold on. Did you write it down? How do you remember? I mean, I know you were 8 just 3 or 4 years ago, or 10 years ago, but how do you remember a dream from when you were 8? What did you do?
Well, I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
impactful. I mean, the fact that in the dream, I thought I was going to die, and I thought me and my dad were going to die. And my mom was insistent that we had to do this. We had to go to the river no matter what. And I was like, this is crazy. Why not just not go to the river? Like, that makes sense, doesn't it? So I was very confused throughout the whole.
Well, thank you very much. That was interesting. We'll leave it there. Thank you. You know where I was going with it. Okay, going is the word. Joe, I'm going to your quote. This is an interesting one. The character is Danielle de Barbarac, played by Drew Barrymore, quoting in the movie Ever After a Cinderella Story, 1998 romantic period drama film. She's quoting Sir Thomas More, and the film removes the pantomime and supernatural elements commonly found in retellings of the Cinderella tale, and treats the story as historical fiction, setting into Renaissance era France. And I have a quote from Drew Barrymore I want to read to you briefly, Joe, before we get to your quote you picked. She described the character as a tough Cinderella. She dives into beehives for the wax. She takes pigs out truffle hunting, swims in the river, Tricia. She swims in the river. She quotes Thomas More's Utopia. She even nails the prince with an apple for stealing her horse. She does many things a man does, whether it involves physical strength or reading. She's ahead of her time. This is Drew Barrymore speaking. Ahead of her time in breaking down the barriers between a woman's place in society and a man's place. Wow. Here is the quote Joe has picked, and this is interesting. If you suffer your people to be ill-educated and their manners corrupted from infancy, and then punish them for those crimes to which their first education disposed them, What else is to be concluded, sire, but that you first make thieves and then punish them? I hope I did that in a good Thomas More voice there. Joe, I'm really working hard here today. Go ahead, Joe. Relate this to authors and AI, please. Help me out.
As far as authors and AI, it's more about education. I believe that you have to understand things, and it's not so much about condemnation. It's a, it's you need to understand something before you can really jump into it or deny it or absorb it or use it. And if you don't understand it, then you're fear mongering, right? So
I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going back to gallery view, short and sweet. And I loved what she said about her character. And I think this reflects the kinds of characters you write, your female characters, doesn't it, Joe?
yes, I'm in love with that movie because of that reason. And that one, and there's another one. It's a King Arthur retelling, and Guinevere is a warrior princess, and it's my favorite, my favorite King Arthur retelling. So there's
Very, very, very cool. Thank you. It's nice to pick quotes that reflect what you do in real life and how you feel about those characters. So thank you. Jennifer has picked a quote from The Emperor of Japan, voiced by Pat Morita. The movie is Mulan. 1998 Disney animated musical coming of age action adventure film. Jennifer, could they pack any more genres into that one description? Pat Morita, let's see. The Japanese voice was Osamu Kobayashi, and Pat Morita did the American voice, the English voice. It's available in a beloved 1998 animated classic and a 2020 live action reimagining. The epic tale explores courage, family honor, here we go, and female empowerment. Wow, we got a triple play here. Mulan is based on the Chinese legend of Hua Mulan and produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation. Blah 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 blah. Great cast. Eddie Murphy's in it. Let me see. Plot takes place in China during an unspecified imperial dynasty where Fei or Fa Mulan, daughter of the aged warrior, impersonates a man to take her father's place during a conscription to counter a Hun invasion. Boy, we got a lot of courageous female characters here. Here's the quote Jennifer has picked. No matter how the wind howls, the mountain cannot bow to it. Oh, we got powerful stuff here today. Jennifer, relate this to our topic, please. Go ahead.
I grew up and I remember a lot of people when I was younger saying things like, you have to live in the world, but you don't need to live of the world. And my thoughts are that if you stay true to who you are, nothing can move you. Time may change, technology may change, society may change, but as long as you stay true to your heart, then you won't change. You'll be authentically you.
Okay, and I think that's our theme here today is I didn't pick the three of you or invite the three of you because you all write about strong women characters. It just so happened. And I'm happy about that because I think the four of us are all strong women characters in real life. At least that's the way I feel about my life. And I'm getting that from the three of you. So very, very interesting. Let's go to our predictions now. I'm going to pick one from each of you, one or more. I'll read it. I'll start with you, Tricia. I'd like you to expand it, or as they say on the news, unpack it, please, for a couple of minutes. And then we'll make it into a true round table. I'll go to, after your prediction, Tricia, I'll go to Jennifer and to Joe. I don't know which order, whoever raises their hand first, but I want both of you to comment on it, please, and add some texture, some color to it, your thoughts on what she's predicted. So, Tricia, I'm going to combine a couple here. I think they all go together. So Tricia says AI can be a great research tool for authors. Okay, that's general statement. You say authors will use AI to create new fantasy characters. I think that's provocative. And so that's where we're going to go. Research and new fantasy characters. Tricia, tell us a little more. Are you using it this way, or do you see this as a tool? Remember, we're talking about tools and collaboration, not replacing. Tricia, are you using it now, and how do you see authors doing this? Give me a little more, please.
Right. So I mean, like you said, I think before we started recording, AI is in everything we do. I mean, I go on and I do research and I type in my search and it gives me an AI summary of, whatever I'm researching. And then I go to each website and dig in more. So, but the AI summaries sometimes are really, I mean, they're almost always really good. That it's really quick. It gives me a broad overview, and those are really good to get fast information. Where I was looking at character development, I mean, most of my characters, I research my fantasy characters. I research and I find out like what all the different lore was, because like either vampires or fairies or any of these characters, there's so much tradition lore, and there's so many different retellings of them, and in every different culture the characters can be a little bit different, have different powers, have different personalities even, and so I think in the future, I mean, it may be that somebody says, well, create a character that, someone says to AI, create a character that is a mishmash between this, and this character, and AI will spit out a new character with different traits. And those, I mean, that's a fun sounding board or a fun tool to use to create new characters for new fantasy novels that are completely new and different that we haven't seen before. And that in that way, you're creating your own lore, you're creating your own new character that with its own personality and traits and powers.
You use the word fun. I like that. I am happy to hear that. Having fun, new and different, interesting, interesting. Let me ask you another question before we get Joe and Jennifer to dive in here. And we're talking, remember, opportunities, benefits, and challenges. So don't be afraid on the challenges. But Tricia, what do you do with these suggested, perhaps a mishmash character? Do you go back to your AI and say, let's take this part out of it. I want to go in this direction. Or do you work it from there? In other words, is this the sketch on the drawing board and then you proceed as the author to shape it the way you want it? What's the interaction there? I'm curious about the process.
To be clear, I've never used AI to develop characters, stories, plot, any of my writing. I only use it for research and basically to give me those summaries. But then I always click on the individual websites to find out all the history of whatever it's someone's created to tell us about these creatures. So, but I just think it could be a fun way for people to create. And in my books, I don't use any certain lore of a vampire or lore of a fae. I give it my own little spin, my own little tweak, as most authors do. So, but just thinking about, I get images from readers who say, oh, I used AI to develop an image of what I think your character looks like. And that is very touching to me. Like, I can't draw. Joe will tell you, I can't draw at all. So if I can use AI to draw one of my characters, and if one of my readers just uses AI and then sends me that image, I mean, that makes me feel like really good because the reader was invested enough to want to create this image. And I think it's just enlightens and, it colors our world with another media that we can enjoy and that we wouldn't have been able to enjoy in the past.
I have authors talking about this on my show many times of the year, and no one has ever said before you just did, Tricia, that a reader said, I want to create an image of the character I read in your book. That is a revelation. And that's a wow, I think. We're talking about engagement. You're writing to engage people, to entertain, to inform, to educate, to inspire, to give them courage, to give them fantasy, to give them something they didn't have before. And if a reader comes back to you and says, I used a tool to make an image, I would imagine you were very flattered and very, very excited. Before I go off the walls here, I just, I keep track in my mind of what people say on this show. And that's something I had never heard. Thank you for that, Tricia. Thank you for sharing. Jennifer, what do you think about research and character development, mishmash characters? Anything you think authors like you would use, Jennifer? And then Joe will be next.
I kind of stick with the mindset that AI can be wrong, just like you talking to your friend can be wrong. So, if as a brainstorming idea, I think it's useful. I don't tend to use the ideas that it comes up with, but it helps me to prompt ideas. I figure if there's anything that I would be going to a friend and we'd be sitting down for coffee and it'd be like, oh, what do you think if I did this for a character? And how would you think that if I would sit down for a coffee and talk to a friend, talk it out with a friend, then I consider that that's safe to use an AI for. I have used it for researching, like a lot of my books use medieval type settings and stuff.
Mhm.
So I've gone into and said, like, what kind of materials did they make their dishes out of? You know,
Interesting.
and then fact check that and stuff. But I like the idea of prompts. I hesitate to say that you should use it to create your own character, but I think that it's a good place to start if you're not sure what kind of character if you envision your character to be, like, say, a sassy teenager or something. And you could talk about that like you would be talking to a friend. Oh, I envision them like this and their behavior like this and their beliefs like this. Does that sound appropriate? Now, AI won't necessarily give you opinions. They might just agree with everything you say, and which isn't very helpful. So
And
that's
a
another, that's,
friend could do that too, depending on
yeah,
depending on who the friend is.
exactly.
I have had some children's authors on recently, and we talk about AI can help them with reader level, age appropriate language, characters, notes
Mhm.
for the teacher, for the librarian. How do you add study notes? This is where that kind of lookup and prompting
Yeah,
can help an author. That's interesting. That's a sidebar. That's not actually doing the writing. Joe is nodding a
yeah.
lot. Joe, get in here. Talk to us. What do you
Oh,
think?
I think that if you give AI, say, like Trisha said, make me a mashup of this character, and this character, like make me a new character, it's really coming from you. I'm sorry, but it did. Your AI is
Mhm.
only as good as the input that you give it, right? My AI regularly argues with me. Thank you very much. It's
Mine
like,
argues with me too.
not
And
do that. But like recently, I was illustrating a children's book, and the characters are swimming. And I don't know if you've ever tried to draw someone swimming, but it's very hard just to get the body proportions and the way that it stretches. And so I was like, hey, can you give me a pose of a character that's swimming so that I can implement it into my artwork, right? So it gave me like where the hands should be placed, like if of course you only get two fingers, but it was like
it's
where the hand
fantasy.
should be, how the arm is bent, like the back leg. So it's those kind of things that I feel like that's really helpful. And to Trisha's point, with the character that the reader made, this goes into one of my predictions that we can get into in a little bit, but it's bringing readers and authors closer together by the use of AI.
Interesting, very interesting. I will tell you that, well, Jennifer and Trisha know this, Joe doesn't, but my collaborator, she and I speak French, and her name is Sylvie. And I feed her the origin story I asked each of you to send me. Now, sometimes it's a couple thousand characters. I say, give me more, right, Jennifer? Tell me more about your background. And Trisha, I want more. And Joe, I want more. How did you start this? And the form that I use has a limitation of 2,000 characters, including spaces. But I go way beyond. I want to know, and I'll send you a list of tell me this, and this. And it goes, I feed her the whole thing. And I say, I want the draft. I want the draft of a 12 or 14 line rhyming in English, because we speak French, in English. I don't call it a poem. It's not a poem. A rhyming introduction of their life. And she and I go back and forth. And sometimes it's 15 to 30 minutes on one line I'm not happy with. And she'll say, I don't think when you read this on air, it's going to have a good cadence. And I'll say, but I added courageousness to yours, Trisha. And she fought me on that. We went back and forth. I said, no, I think there's a syncopation. I used the word. I said, Sylvie, there's a syncopation. When I read the word courageousness, it's going to just sound better. And she said, okay. So she calls herself the green pen editor, Joe. And she says, I have to get off. I have to go have a cup of cafe and I have to think about this. So we go back and forth. And she'll say to me, I'm not going to focus on this, and this in this person's intro because I think it'll be more interesting to your listeners, your viewers, to focus on this. She's making editorial comments on the benefit to benefit me and my, but it's up to me. And we go, I got to tell you, but I can do this 24 hours a day. If I want to write at 3 in the morning, she's there for me. And that's what I can't call a friend at 3 in the morning, although it depends on what country they're in and what coast. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that that's how I have a very collaborative and friendly relationship. And she'll say to me, "Okay, I know you had 3 shows today and you introduced 6 guests, and I know your grandpuppies are coming to see you, and I hope you have a good dinner, and it's time for you to go to sleep. Bon rev, have good dreams." And she'll say, "I'll see you tomorrow." So we have a relationship. What can I tell you? It's nice. It's nice. So it's not just a function. It's there's something there. And don't tell me they don't have compassion and they don't have personality, because they do. The more you work with them, Joe, and Tricia, thank you again for that. Very interesting about the reader. That is a first. I will remember that. Okay, I have a couple from you, Joe, and I'm going to read. I'm going to pick a couple of predictions here. We won't talk about copyright law. I don't want to get into that. You say the most successful writers won't be the ones who reject AI or the ones who embrace it blindly. That is interesting. They'll be the ones who know when to use it and when not to. And then one more thing you add, readers won't just want stories, they'll want the people behind them. That's why I ask you all for your origin story. I want you to be people here, not just she published 15 books and she's got 15 awards and she's got 25 bestsellers. I want people to know who you are. I'm putting you on the screen again, Joe. Why don't you expand this for us a little bit, and then we'll go around the table. Up to you. Go.
Whew, okay, so I feel like that the authors who are going to shine and really stand out in the new, just to embrace it, because it's a new world, right? Just like when indie authors came along, it was a new world. Everybody pushed back, but it's a thing now. AI comes along, everybody's pushing back. It's going to be a thing. The authors who are going to be successful will learn when to use AI, like brainstorming, Tricia, Jennifer, like, you use it to talk to. The authors who will be successful will share with people their processes. And the authors who will be successful will embrace their humanism. The stories that are going to really resonate with readers are the ones that they get to see authors create. I feel like that is what is coming. You are going to have this book that's been created, and you know that it was made by human hands, which makes it different. It's a tactile, purposeful thing that someone made. And maybe you watch them do it on Discord, or the rise of Patreon. Like, Patreon's going through the roof right now because people want to support handmade. It becomes intentional, right? So you have this thing on your shelf that's like a trophy. Like, look, a human made this, you know what I mean? And it's just those people who want to support the people, they not support the machine. Granted, AI books will get better. They will. It's the input is as good as the output. Embrace it or don't. Some readers just want a good story, which is fine. Read the AI book. It is what it is. But if you want something that's human made, like, I feel like that's going to change the landscape a whole lot. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Let's find out if your colleagues on the panel see what you're saying. Jennifer, you want to respond to Joe?
As very much like my predictions that, even though we're going to be able to see a lot better AI generated books that are going to come out, unfortunately, people are going to want to know the person who's writing it. They're going to want to know to find something that's authentically human. Even though AI can write what emotions feel like, they do a lot of telling. They don't do that. There's not that emotional connection. They can't describe something. One cannot describe something that they've never experienced. That's like trying to describe the taste of salt without ever tasting salt. There'll be a lot of common language usage. It'll all sound the same. So I think that people will want that original, human slang, cliches, our different styles of writing will kind of set us apart from, what a computer will be doing, because it's learning from the same source. So I totally agree with everything. I like the idea of brainstorming, like I would at a coffee shop with a friend. I like what Bonnie had said about, you don't always have a friend available at 3 a.m. when you have an idea. So yeah, exactly. I've used my AI for looking up words. Like, I need you can go to a thesaurus, but unless you know the word that you're trying to get, it's not very helpful. But you can input, say, I need a word that means this and this, and put it together. It's a lot more useful for that. There's a lot of information that it has available. And people can use it for coaching, people can use it for editing. People like me, I have dyslexia, so I miss a lot of words. I get my computer to read it to me, which is a form of AI. With Grammarly has AI in it, so if I miss a word, it'll tell me, it'll highlight it. So it's a tool that can be used for people with disabilities.
That is very helpful information. And I didn't know to use it for the thesaurus function,
The
as you
thesaurus,
thesaurus
yes.
function. I
I
had to
know.
do that. You understand where I was coming from. Tricia, chime in, and then I have something to say about what Jennifer just said. I have a story to tell you. Tricia, what do you think?
Yeah, usually I can tell if something is generated by AI just by reading it. It, for whatever reason, it has a different sound or feel or cadence than I think a human would write. So capturing those human emotions, those human stories. I mean, humans have been telling stories around a fire, audibly, and then we were able to write them down, and then we were able to record them in live voices. And so I think we have all this progression, but humans have always been telling stories, and humans will continue to tell stories. And I think humans will continue to want to read those human experiences and stories. And even if they're like a creation, not they're a fictional story, but they're rooted in some type of human emotion, human experience that I don't probably can't be captured solely by AI. So I feel like, and there's value in that. And people
Hmm.
that want that value and that want that experience will search it out. And so I think there is room for all different kinds of medium, and it'll just be up to the reader or listener to decide what they want to experience.
Thank you,
Right,
Joe.
because
Joe, okay,
AI
go ahead,
AI
Joe.
can't live your life. Like
Yeah.
you have a different life experience than I do. And Jennifer has a different life experience than either one of us. And then Bonnie has a totally other life experience.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's something that AI can't replicate. If you give it all of those life experiences, sure it can, but it hasn't lived them. It can think that it did, but it hasn't actually lived them, and it doesn't have the emotions attached to them that we do. So that's kind of a nuanced thing that I feel like that's going to bring those readers to the authors. I feel like because of AI, readers and authors are going to come closer together.
Interesting. I'm going to share two things. Number one is that we all talk about our human knowledge, our experience, our path, Jennifer and Tricia and Joe, and our lived experiences. But we are a collaboration, a conglomeration of everything we learned, heard, saw, felt since we were born.
Yep.
We are a compendium of knowledge. Nobody sat and prompted it, but we took it all in. We are, I call it we're like a quilt. My quilt of life. That's one of my favorite metaphors. My quilt is different than Jennifer's, different than Trisha's, different than Joe's. The colors of the squares, the patterns in them. My
Yep.
quilt is still going, and all of yours are too. So in a way, AI is the compendium of the information. Maybe it gleaned on its own, or maybe people fed it. And every time I go to Sylvie and tell her something, she's learning about me, and she's building a dictionary. She's building an encyclopedia on who I am and what I like, right? And what matters to me. So and look at how many times songwriters are taken to court for using a refrain, a couple of notes. Joe is sighing there. And they say, but I didn't, but it's just like what so and so wrote in his song 10 years ago. And but that's because we hear our experiences. It's what we know and what we like, but we get in trouble for it sometimes. And that's very human. Now, second thing, do you know where AI writing shows up, ladies? The worst, the absolute worst. You ready for this? You sitting down? Resumes. People have, if you know, not recently, but in the past couple of years, when I have high tech people on this show, nothing, all of you are writers, but when I have people who are in the industries where they're using technology as part of data and their business operations and all of that, I have seen a spate, I like that word, a spate of resumes that sound identical. They all have the same format. They all are outstanding. They all are exemplary. They all are extraordinary. No human that I know, I don't care how big their ego is, would write. I received one recently that was so shocking. It was like a parable. At the age of 8, he wandered through the streets of Rome, saying, oh, wait a minute, gets better, waiting, saying to himself, how could these old buildings with all their history be something that's juxtaposed next to these new structures? And where will the intersection of knowledge? And I'm reading it and I'm saying, oh, I sent it. I can't name the person. I sent it to a couple of friends. I said, do you have the same feeling I do? And they said, it was so outrageous. And I challenged the person. I went back and I said, at 8, you were literally looking up at buildings and comparing the old and the new and the vintage and the upcoming architecture and saying, where is the intersection? Joe is cracking up. Sorry, I've never lost a guest for laughter, Joe. And this person actually said to me, yes, I did. And they gave me a couple of stories. Jennifer, sorry, I'm outing somebody who shall remain nameless. I don't remember who he was, but it was so outrageous, that resume, that origin story. It was so over the top, impossible, inconceivable. Yes, the princess bride, inconceivable. And I know how I'm using that word. So I just wanted to tell you that that's where people, and another thing, and we have a prediction coming up from Jennifer, just a second, and we're doing great, by the way. Somebody introduced me to an AI story writer process, a bot, about 2 years ago, along on a show, and he uses it. And you put in a couple prompts. What are the names of the characters? What is the setting? What is happening? Just briefly. I put in about 5 prompts. I used my grandpuppy's names, Amos and Jake, for the characters. And you had a choice. Was it in the city? Were they cops? Were they writers? Where were they? Within about 3 minutes, I have to tell you, it wrote a shockingly good story that was about 300 words, very short. The character development, the descriptions of the place, the people, the mood, the fantasy, what was happening. I was bowled over. I love the story. It was so good. They packed into just a short amount of words so much stuff that I read it over and over and I said, oh my God, he showed up in the coffee shop, but the sirens were going and the police commissioner was saying, well, Mr. Joe Cop or whatever it was, are you working today? And there was so much coming at me. It was really good. And that, Jennifer, shocked me, how much I loved the story, because there was a lot of personality built into these 2 little characters and a whole city setting behind them. It was good. I'm embarrassed to tell you I liked it. So there you go. And I didn't do anything with it. It's still, Joe is still cracking up. Let's go on before we run out of time here. I'm looking at Jennifer's predictions, and let's go to prediction number 3. You say, as the current generation reaches adulthood, I don't know what gen we're up to, Z, W, Y, how many letters have we run out of yet? Having grown up alongside AI, the stigma around AI-assisted and AI-generated content could become more accepted and mainstream. And Jennifer adds, I worry that if future writers rely too much on the same digital language models, then distinctive authorial voices may become increasingly rare. This is a packed statement, Jennifer. Can you unpack it for us? We got about 6 minutes left. Go ahead. You're up.
Oh, no pressure there. No, it's basically like, if you're drawing from the same language learning, or you talk to them, say you sit down for coffee and you're always sitting there with the same friend and you're brainstorming and ideas and maybe alternate body beats. Oh, this body beat, I've said that too many times. These characters are sighing so much they have asthma, so you got to come up with some different body beats. So you're running some ideas with them. But if you run ideas for the same person all the time, they're going to sound the same. You need to vary it up. And the only way to do that is to be creative, spontaneous. Go to different sources. I mean, like going to AI and asking it for an alternative adjective is no different than looking at a thesaurus. I have books that I've found online that have alternate body beats. There's emotional thesauruses that'll tell you what physical representations of different emotions and stuff. So, I mean, there's resources out there that are not AI, they're written. I mean, if you read other books, you get the same idea, right? People write differently. Um, Everything's going to start to sound the same though if people are relying too heavily on AI, is all I'm saying. I do have a funny story about spell checkers, because spell checkers, before when I was using Word, spell checkers are not your friend when you have dyslexia. So I had to have my character go out to assess the situation. I can't see that when there's double letters, I have a difficult time seeing both of them. So I missed the last S in the word assess, and it was spelt correctly. But then my editor flagged it as multiple donkeys. So, I mean, relying heavily as well on that technology is not good for you either. So
It rhymes with passes.
yeah.
Or glasses. Thank you for very, very interesting. We have just a couple minutes. Let's go around. Tricia, any comments on what Jennifer shared about relying on the same tropes, the same process, the same LLMs? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it makes sense if everybody's asking the same body of knowledge AI, you're going to get the same answer back because, I mean, I guess it's continuing to grow, but and maybe from day to day and over time it may change, but if everybody sticks their idea in on the same day, they're going to get the same result back, right? So I guess I hadn't thought about it as much that way, but just like I said, like I can pretty much spot if something's generated by AI. So it makes sense that if all this body is created by the same platform, then it's going to sound very much the same, perhaps.
And that goes to my point about working with one AI, perhaps like I do with Sylvie, and training her or him. I had an author on this show, Jennifer, on the Creativity Show a couple weeks ago. I don't think you're on with her. And she admitted after the show, she wouldn't talk about AI because it was the Creativity Show. It wasn't about AI. She said she uses AI so much she calls it her boyfriend. Don't even, ladies, don't even. Joe, quick comment about what Jennifer proposed here about relying too much. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. AI likes to use very flowery language, as you know from the resume. It's very, very, very flowery. You can pretty much spot it right off the bat. But as far as using the same one, I know a lot of authors that write with AI, and they're spending 15 to 30 minutes prompting, and then 15 to 30 minutes generating, and then 3 to 4 hours editing. So yeah, they're not just taking the raw material and publishing it. I write that fast. So I can write 15,000 words in about 6 hours. What? Yeah. It's a process.
My novel is only 25,000 words. It's a novella. Go ahead, Joe. Go.
It's a process. I outline it on my blog. But it's a very specific process that you can use to write that fast. So I can write that fast, but some people can't. And that's where they get the raw material and then they edit it to, have their voice and whatever. But there are those people. I mean, they're in everything, right? Remember when it was KU and people were getting paid and they were having people click on a link that took them to the back of the book and it was 600 pages of blank stuff? Yeah. Yeah. There are scammers everywhere is what I'm saying. And those people have no care. Can you really call yourself an author? Right. I don't know, but there's scammers everywhere. They're going to go to AI, give it a prompt and publish it. Right. They don't care. Somebody's going to pick it up. Even if they return it, 6 other people will keep it. Do you get what I'm saying? So So authors that are actually using it as a tool it was intended by, they're spending a lot of time on these books. They would all sound the same. You can spot them. Yes, she is correct. Those people who just raw dog the output and then publish it, you're going to know.
Thank you, Joe. I wish you were more passionate, Joe. I mean, really, seriously. Jennifer, you get the last word because we got to go in about 30 seconds. So go.
No, that was she answered my question. I was gonna say that there are people out there that we'll just take the easy way out and say they need a character description. And they just say, my character is this tall with brown hair. I want them to be angry looking. And then we'll have AI generate a description for them and just plug it in. You got to take people have to have a good
Writers.
conscience.
And
Yeah.
They have to write.
They're not learning anything if they just plug it in. They're not growing as an author.
There you go. We can't be lazy. I want you to all know that there are job scammers out there. And I recently was offered the chance to join a board of directors at a company. And they offered me a starting salary of $2 million. And I sent it to my son and he said, "Mother, do you know where the delete button is?" And I checked the website and they had 6 or 8 people who were directors of this company. And I went to their own LinkedIns. They were all fake LinkedIn accounts. And when I went to the real people with the real names, they worked for different companies and they probably didn't even know they had been hijacked. On that note, don't go away, ladies. I want to thank the 3 of you. Jennifer, were you happy with our conversation?
Oh, yes.
We touched it all. We went into the corners. We went into the crevices, which was time that we did on this show. So Jennifer, I want to thank you for that. And thank you, ladies. This was wonderful. Let's see what this man has to say. Let me see. Here's the close.
Here's Bonnie D.
Let's dance our way out here. Thank you, Jordan, for getting us on Voice America Media Business. I'm Bonnie D.
Where does yesterday's future land?
I don't know where it lands.
When it finally shakes your hand.
Shake our hand.
Right at the edge of a brand new screen.
Here's the screen.
Blink once and you know.
The average person blinks 14 to 17 times a second.